Similar to the oyster, we are experiencing an irritant, a specific type of pain. And of course, many of us, this feels like you're going to die. This thing is trying to kill you. But this is an opportunity for us to actually take in that hurt, that trauma, and code it. If you think about how a pearl is formed, oyster has to be under attack. And so right now, in our communities, we are experiencing a particular type of pain, a particular type of irritant. Many of us have never, ever experienced this kind of economic shortfall. People who are educated are even impacted. Hours have been cut. And this is, again, an opportunity where you could focus in on your lack and it could feel like something is happening to you. But the new essential I'm here to tell you is partnerships, to actually think about your contribution to community. Today, I want to talk to you about collective impact. If you're silent about your pain, they will kill you and say you enjoyed it. During the pandemic, I've realized that there is an opportunity for us to actually build pearl partnerships during the pandemic. This is not something that is happening to one or two of us, but it is happening to our communities and us as a collective. Therefore, we all have an opportunity to contribute. I encourage you to build pearl partnerships. Pearl, passionate, engaged, activists resisting limits. What are you passionate about? During this pandemic, we've all had an opportunity to pause. And oftentimes we've reflected on our new opportunities to spend time with family and friends or to develop our craft. And that's really been a wonderful opportunity because all of us are passionate with a purpose. Your purpose is why you are here. It is the thing that drives you and helps you to thrive, even during a time as this. Each of us has a persistence, a resilience that lives in us. And if you can tap into that passion that you have and your purpose and connect the two, then you, regardless of what is going on, can actually contribute to your community. I actually thought about that for myself because I am passionate about the abilities of Black women. I want Black women to thrive as a Black woman. As a Black woman, I sought out opportunities to connect with others, to fuel myself, but also to sharpen my skills because iron sharpens iron. So what happens when we actually pull together passionate people and give them a collective purpose? And that leads us to our next portion, which is engagement. To actually, even in the midst of social distancing and wearing masks, we can be engaged in this virtual environment and actually contribute to each other by being an ear, listening, actually helping people through mentorship, using your collective power to engage with others. That is what then leads us all to be activists, to actively look at what is wrong in our community and to be that change that we want to see. I encourage you to activate your powers, to do what you do best, and to use that to coat your community. If you're a sandwich maker, baby, make the sandwiches. If you're a street sweeper, sweep the street. Your contribution is needed. And if you are passionate about it, you are going to bring something to that skill, to that talent, to the community that has never been done before. So going back to making sure that we are connecting in our passions and being engaged in our community, then we activate those powers that we have and we become activists. And all of it becomes a part of our way to resist the limits that have been put on top of us. So many times during the pandemic, while we have been serving the community as a nonprofit leader, I've heard just people being thankful because I have answered the phone. I too am tired, but I resist the limit that I don't have anything to give. I know that there are business owners and business is suffering. And so even though I know I can't fund all of them, I know that they have something that they can contribute to the community. Thinking about these things differently and actually resisting the limits that, you know, society or traditions or stereotypes even have placed on us. For example, you have so many event spaces that, of course, weddings and the weekends have often been the focus and the money makers for these spaces. But during this time where entrepreneurs need maker-taker spaces, where kids actually need learning pods, I have been in conversations with small businesses owners here in Clayton County about how to use their event space differently. Some of them have in-kind space so that we can actually have a dress closet for entrepreneurs, but also for those who are seeking employment. Clothes that have already been paid for. How many of us have in our closet right now something of substance, a suit, you know, that a young person or entrepreneur could use that is no longer of use to us? During this time where we're all suffering, rather than think about your lack, I encourage you to get passionate about your purpose. Again, to engage in your community. If you love children, be a caretaker for those who are essential workers that you know have to leave, and those children are still engaged in virtual learning. As a nonprofit leader, we've been able to get grants and actually directly impact the eviction process and prevent eviction for 21 families in the month of December. We did that, of course, through grant writing, but also through individual donors. One apartment complex in particular had over 15 applicants. And of course, I could have worked with each of those people individually, but I activated what I call the Pearl Partnerships and actually went to have a conversation with the apartment manager, who actually helped me to reach out to more people who were in need. She knocked on doors to make sure that we were actually able to meet the need of the community. We were able to establish a meeting with the regional manager because, as many of you know, it's not just eviction that is looming, but a lot of these late fees, because apartments themselves are a business. We need them in our community. And we were able to actually have some fees forgiven by having a conversation about what everyone could contribute. The tenants contributed. Us as a nonprofit, it made a contribution, as well as the apartment complex in itself. There are many opportunities for us to engage actively to resist the opportunity that we can't come together to thrive. I encourage you right now to think about your community really as the village, to think about collective impact. And I know during this time, which is hard, we cannot do everything, but each of us can do something. And we can be paralyzed by the fear of the unknown. And so many people that I talk to have said, this is the first time I've not been able to pay my bills. But if you think about what is it the first time that you are able to do to contribute to your community? There might be a conversation that you could have that actually would lead to an opportunity for you to get some income. As I said, during this pandemic, we have to think about partnerships differently. And you cannot procrastinate. There is no time like the present. And as I say many times, as Zora Neale lets us know, let your voice be heard. If you are silent about your pain, they will kill you and say you enjoyed it. Right now in Clayton County is my community, and I have met and talked to so many women, our essential workers on the front line, who make about $50,000 a year. If you make $50,000 a year and have 1 to 2 children, you are nowhere near the poverty line. And so when this pandemic hit, many of them did not qualify for the services and support. And so the thing that I realized is that many of them were living in their cars, months behind, and again, had no resources out in the community. Each of us, even in our lack, has something that we can give. Each of us has something that we can contribute. Each of us has a passion. It is meaningful. Your community needs it. And if you are thoughtful about your engagement, you can get active today to resist the idea that we can't come together. This is the time. More than money, our collective contributions will help us change our current situation. Thank you. Be a pearl.